Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today is the start of a new reading vlog. So I've actually been reading these books for a little bit. I've been very lax at updating you guys on what I was reading, and that's kind of because with the new way that I'm filming, there's like too much time now in between. So I'm like pre-recording as opposed to recording and then uploading right away. It's very different. I am at an arcade. We are at round one again, and we have ordered food and we're waiting for it. So I thought I'd finally go ahead and film my intro for this video. So I am reading two books. There's kind of a theme. I wasn't sure how I was gonna classify the theme this time around, but I think it's gonna be trying new series. So I'm reading two first in a series books. They're both on the paranormal, supernatural kind of genre. And so I wanted to let you know where I was with that and what I was thinking. I am trying out my new microphone again, so I hope the sound quality is okay. Like I said, we are at an arcade. We are in the dining area, and so yeah, hopefully it sounds good in any case. Two books I'm reading. So the first book I'm reading is Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. This is the first book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. It's a series that has been on my TBR for a very, very long time. And there is a TV show now. It is on, I think it's a service called Passionflix, but I'm not going to subscribe to that service to watch. In any case, I wanted to make sure that I did finally go ahead and read the first book in the series and see what I thought. So in this world, there are two different types of vampires. There are a couple different types of vampires. There are full-blooded vampires. There are half-blood vampires, and then there are soulless vampires. And so there's kind of a battle between the two other types of vampires and the soulless vampires. And it's kind of funny because the soulless vampires, apparently they smell like baby powder. So now, if you've watched any of my other wax videos, you know that I really like baby powder as a fragrance. And so now, every time I pick up a baby powder scent to melt or smell it, I'm going to be like, that's the smell of lessers, which is what the soulless vampires are called in this world. In any case, you've got kind of a battle going on between them. The lessers are trying to take out the other types of vampires, and then there's this one vampire who has had mortal children. So they're half mortal, half vampire, but they don't know that they're half mortal vampire. And so he has one child left. The rest of his children have died, and it's kind of because these half mortal vampires go through a change to become vampires when they're in their mid-20s, and lots of times they don't survive. And so he goes to the last remaining full-blooded vampire, who's a friend of his, and asks him to help his daughter through this change because it should be coming soon, and he really wants her to survive because it's his last child. And so it's kind of a story about this full-blooded vampire finding and meeting this woman, and this woman finding out about her father and what actually happened to her parents, and going through the change of becoming a vampire. This book is about 20 years old, so it does feel like it was a 20-year-old book to me. It feels like those other books that were written around this time. Kind of has the feel of Anita Blake, that type of book. I think if I had read this even 10 years ago, I would probably enjoy it more than I am enjoying it now. It's not terrible. It's like a 3-star. I think this is going to end up being a 3-star read for me. So it's not excellent, but it's not terrible, and I am enjoying what I've read so far. So I'm about 60% of the way through this book. The audiobook narration is good. I'm enjoying it, but it's just an okay story for me. So now I'm kind of trying to decide whether or not I want to continue on with this series or not. So that's where I am with that one. Again, perfectly fine book, I think if I had read it 10 years ago, I probably would have enjoyed it more. But this is why you should read the books that you're interested in right away instead of putting them on a list and forgetting about them. So that's what's happening to me right now, and I'm paying the price. In any case, the other book that I'm reading right now is Haunted. This is the first book in the Harrison Investigation series by Heather Graham. So this is kind of a supernatural type story. Harrison Investigations is like a group of people that have abilities. And so I've read a couple books in the Crew of Hunters series, which is kind of the same thing. I feel like Harrison Investigations is a little bit more mild. In this case, we have a guy who owns a piece of property called Melody House. And throughout the years, it's kind of had rumors of having supernatural activity. And we open up where there are people who have booked his place for their honeymoon, and something happens. And then the lady who cleans his property, something happens to her. And so he finally relents and hires Harrison Investigations to find out exactly what's going on in his property. He doesn't really believe in ghosts. He thinks all of this is just a bunch of, hoo-ha or whatever. And so this woman gets sent, and he's a real jerk to her. It's very apparent that he doesn't believe in what she is doing, or the things that she's done with her profession and things like that. And he was expecting a guy and not a woman, and so there's that. It's interesting so far. This place has a lot of history. So the house was used to house Revolutionary War soldiers, and they said Abraham Lincoln stayed there and things like that. So it's got history. And there are things that had happened on the property also, like there was a murder. And so there's lots of things that could be attributing to what's going on in the place. But of course, this guy doesn't believe that anything like that is happening because he's grown up there his entire life and never experienced anything. And so he thinks that every time somebody says that something like that is happening, they're making it up, or they had too much to drink, or it was just a misunderstanding of what happened. And so we're following this lady doing her investigation at this place, and then this guy trying to figure out exactly what she's doing, figuring her out. And of course there's an attraction, because that's kind of how the formula, I guess, works with Heather Graham's books. But in any case, I'm 7 chapters in on this one. The chapters in this book are rather long, and I am reading it physically. I think I forgot to mention that I'm listening to Dark Lover, but I might have said that I enjoyed the narration, so you probably picked up on the fact that I am listening to the audiobook on that one. But in any case, 2 kind of, I guess, urban fantasy type series that I'm trying. I wanted to read this first book in the Harrison Investigation series, though, because during March Mystery Madness, I had read the first book in the Blackbird Files, and I didn't find out until later that is a spin-off series of the Harrison Investigation series. So I wanted to read the Harrison Investigation series to see if I was missing anything. We're definitely dealing with 2 different sets of people, though, in Harrison Investigations, as opposed to the Blackbird Files. So that was great. I don't feel like I'm missing anything yet. I'm learning about what Harrison Investigations does and things like that. And so, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I enjoy most of the books that I've read from Heather Graham. It's a little bit too much romantic stuff for me, though. I much prefer the supernatural investigation and the happenings and things. And then, you get a little bit of historical background, because usually in the places that they go to, there's something that happens historically that is affecting what's going on at the place. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I said, we are in an arcade today. I've already played some games. I didn't film them, but we want some plushes. And so I'm really happy with the plushes that I won. I do plan on trying to film a little bit of gameplay of other games, hopefully after we finish eating. But our food is here on the table now, and so I'm going to dig in. But I hope you guys are all doing great, and I will chat with you later. Hello! So it's been a couple of days, or a few days, since I talked to you last, and I wanted to give you an update as to where I was with my reads. So I actually finished Dark Lover yesterday. So Dark Lover is the first book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series by J.R. Ward. I listened to this one completely on audio, and I will have to say that I ended up only giving it 3 stars. So, going back to what I had said at the beginning of this vlog, I think that this is the perfect example as to why I should not put books on a list and then just leave them there forever, because then I lose interest. Or it just doesn't click with me where I am in my life, or things like that. And I think that's what happened with this one. I still very much enjoy vampire books, TV shows, and movies and things like that. But I think if I had read this one even 5 years ago, this would have been a much better read for me than it was. So I looked back on my Goodreads to see when I had actually put this title on my to-read list, and it was actually added to my to-read list in 2012. I picked up a copy of the book in 2013 from a used bookstore, and I don't have it anywhere on my shelves, so I'm not quite sure what happened to it. But in any case, I'm glad that I was finally able to read this. I think at the point of my life where I was, like even 5 years ago, things that bothered me in my read through here wouldn't have bothered me as much then. So the story is really just about like learning about the world. I feel like it was really a like ground level introductory to this world, how the mechanics work with our vampires, and then kind of showing us that, you know, these half vampires exist and how difficult it is for them to survive, and then introducing the female main character that we follow here as a character that has transitioned to a vampire. And I don't think that's a spoiler in telling you that. But she successfully transitions to be a vampire in this book. And then we're gonna like follow this group of vampires throughout the rest of the series. At least that's what I think is gonna happen from here on out. There was just not enough story, I guess, for me to be interested here. There was too much romantic stuff. Our main characters sleep together an exorbitant amount of times in this book, and I don't need that. I don't look for stories that are like that. I need to like feel some kind of connection to our characters and want them to like have a relationship and things like that in order for me to enjoy them being in a physical relationship. And I just, it was just too much for me. It was too much for me. And it was also very insta-lovey. Like, they were immediately attracted to each other. And there's just no, like, basis for me to be like, okay, yeah, this works. It doesn't work. I mean, up until a certain point, our vampire main character was saying, yeah, I'm just going to help you through this transition, and then somebody else will take care of you after that. And I'm just like, I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that. And then they like fall head over heels in love with each other, and oh my gosh, you know, gotta be together forever. And I'm not into that. I'm not into that. I think I'm probably like too old, I guess, now for that type of story enjoyment. I don't know what it is, but the story was fine. I mean, it wasn't like terrible other than the like all the sex stuff, but I enjoyed like the world. I enjoyed hanging out with our characters. There, you know, are other characters in the group that I found interesting, but I don't think this was interesting enough for me to continue with this series at this point. I looked to see how many books there are in this series right now, and there are like 23, and I think one comes out or came out this year. So it's still publishing, and I don't know that I want to invest into a 23 book series when I feel the way I do about the one that I just read. You know what I mean? I was kind of thinking about it this morning because it does have similarities to another vampire romance book that I read. I think it was earlier this year, which was Dark Prince, which is the first book in the Carpathian series by Christine Feehan. And while that book also, I had the same issues as this book, where I felt like our main characters were sleeping together too often, and then there was insta-love. Their relationship I'm much more interested in. I feel like there was a progression with them. They start off, you know, talking to each other, having conversations with each other. You naturally meet the group of vampires. There are vampires in that group that I'm really interested to hear what their story is about and follow them. So I think if I had to choose between the two series, I would definitely choose to continue the Carpathian series by Christine Feehan, as opposed to continuing with the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, which really kind of is upsetting a little bit to me. I just feel a little bit let down. I thought I was going to really enjoy this series. I was kind of looking forward to it because there is a TV adaptation out now, but it's not on a service that I subscribe to already. I would have to subscribe to a different service, and I don't think I'm going to do that. But yeah, so it was just a 3-star read. Just a refresher though, I did also give Dark Prince, which is the first book in the Carpathian series by Christine Feehan, 3 stars. So I gave them the same rating, but I'm more like inclined to continue the Carpathian series than I am to continue the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. So yeah, at this point, I don't think I'm going to continue. I'm going to let it simmer for a little bit and see if I think about this series at all in the next couple months. If I do, and I become interested in reading another one, I'm not completely saying that I'm DNFing this series at this point. I'm open to reading another installment, but it was just an okay read for me at this point, and I'm okay with what I've consumed of this series so far, and I'm okay with leaving it where it is. So yeah, a bit of unfortunate situation there, but I'm glad that I finally read it. I'm glad that I was able to read something else off my TBR, which is great. And we'll just have to continue moving on and trying to find new and exciting books to read. And remind myself that whenever I become very interested in a book, to read it sooner rather than later. Don't put it on a shelf, put it on a TBR, put it in my Goodreads database or whatever to read 10, 12, 15 years after the fact, because chances are my life situation's going to change. I'm going to have more experiences as I get older, and those things will affect my enjoyment of a story. And my reading tastes will change. I mean, my reading tastes have already changed. I know it has. There are still things that I enjoy, but I enjoy other things also now. So, yeah. So that's where I am with that. I did finish it. I did enjoy it, but it was just a 3-star read for me. So I am still reading Haunted, which is the first book in the Harrison Investigation series by Heather Graham. I'm almost done. So I've got this much left to read. I'm on chapter 15. So I think I told you earlier that the male character here, who's the guy that owns Melody House, the place that's being investigated, was like really the type of person that didn't believe in ghosts, and he was just like getting them to investigate because they were paying him, because they're really interested, Harrison Investigations is, in finally investigating this house and seeing what comes of all of the rumors and claims of situations people have had there. And so he just wants to put everything to rest once and for all, which was his whole reasoning into getting Harrison Investigations to look at the place in the first place. Well, he was a jerk, right, to our main character when she first meets him, and he's continued to be a jerk throughout this book. Continued. But on top of all of that, and telling our main female character that, you know, he doesn't believe that she's speaking what she feels or speaking the truth about what she's experienced, and that it's all like basically, you know, full of you know what, they still sleep together. And they don't just sleep together once, they sleep together multiple times. And I'm like, why would you sleep with a guy who is constantly saying that you're fake. He doesn't believe that what you're saying is true, and calls you out in front of other people, like the lady who helps him take care of the place, and he's got like 2 cousins, or a cousin and a friend, that are on property a lot, and he's just like rude all the time. He tells her degrading things about what she's doing and how he doesn't believe in that, but yet she still sleeps with him several times. And even when they're arguing with each other, they're still attracted enough to immediately jump into bed with each other halfway through their argument. And I just don't understand that. I don't understand that, especially because he's not respectful of her. He's constantly demeaning her in public, saying to her face that she's a fraud, basically, in not so many words. I just don't understand this relationship. However, I am really enjoying the investigation into this house. It has a little bit of that movie from the 80s called High Spirits. If you haven't seen that movie, it is a very, comical movie about this castle that supposedly is haunted, and they do, tours and stuff, and the guy is basically at the end of his funds, and either has to, pull off a big show and get, publicity out there for people to come and do tours of his place so that he can make more money to keep this place, or it's going to get absorbed by the bank. And so he comes up with this big ruse of creating a show to get tourists who want to come see this haunted castle, but the place is actually haunted by several ghosts. And so the depictions of the ghosts, roaming around and, replaying their death scenes and things like that, those parts are not comical, and it's those scenes that kind of remind me of how the ghost scenes in this book are happening. People are getting, touched on the face or pushed down the stairs. Our main character has already, viewed in, a dream state or through hypnosis, things that have occurred with some of the spirits in the house. And so some of those, it almost it plays out in my mind a little bit how those hauntings happen in High Spirits. The real hauntings, not the fake ones that the guy puts together, but the real ones. And that's it's kind of like an eerie feeling, because you definitely witness the murder of somebody. There's a creepiness to it. You hear about the murder of other people that have happened throughout history on this property and things like that. And there are other things that are just happening in the room that she's staying in. And I'm really enjoying those parts. What I'm not enjoying is this dude that owns this place and is having this sexual relationship with our main character. I don't enjoy that. But I enjoy everything else. I'm enjoying learning how she became a part of Harrison Investigations. It really gives you a background onto how she realized she had abilities, when it happened for her, and how she became part of Harrison Investigations. All of that, I think, was told very well, and I really enjoy all of the little connections that you get to see happening. But I cannot stand this guy. Cannot. He gets on my last nerve. And every time they sleep together, not that it's like laid out on page all the time. Sometimes there are fade to black scenes, but they've slept together quite a bit already. And I just don't understand. I don't understand why you would sleep with somebody who constantly demeans you in public and basically calls you a fraud to your face. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. But other than that, like I said, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the investigation. And I think for me, a lot of what I don't enjoy with Heather Graham's books, because I've also read, like I said, the Blackbird Files, which was a spin-off of this series that I hadn't known was a spin-off when I read it. That one had a romantic relationship in it as well, but I enjoyed their, relationship more than I'm enjoying this one. And then the Crew of Hunters, again, there are people that get together and sleep together, but that's not, the story for me. The story for me is the investigation aspect. The investigation into the hauntings. What they do to investigate. The type of equipment they use. And the little tidbits on the places that they're investigating. Or the spirits that they come across and things like that. I enjoy all of that. I guess I just don't enjoy the people element. I mean, I enjoy them individually. I just don't enjoy, the romantic stuff. And, I don't read a lot of romantic books, even though I did read one last month for Christmas in July. But for me, Christmas in July romance, or Christmas romance in general, is different. It hits different for me, and I think it's because of the whole, Christmas ambiance. Because I'm a lot more forgiving, I find, when Christmas is involved. I don't know. Is it that, effect? You know how they say, Christmas makes most people happy? And I think maybe that's what affects me with those, and why I don't mind reading Christmas romance, or romance set at Christmas, but I don't enjoy it as much with other things. So, yeah, in any case, I am enjoying the investigation. I'm hoping to see what comes of it very soon, because I only got this much left. So, yeah. I think, though, this is only going to be 3 stars also, which is kind of disappointing, unless something, really exceptional happens in the last few chapters that I have left to read. But I do want to continue with this series because, like I said, I enjoy the investigation. I enjoy the places that come up and that they investigate. There's usually some kind of a historical connection, which, makes the story, believable. And so, I enjoy that. And I enjoy Heather Graham's writing, other than the whole romantic relationships all the time. But, yes, I will be continuing with this series, regardless of whether this is a 3-star series or not. And so, yeah, that's where I am with that. And so, that's pretty much all I have for you right now. We haven't been doing very much lately. We haven't been out and about, so I haven't had any other clips to show you. I haven't been knitting because I've had pain in my hands a lot. And so when I'm in pain, I don't knit because I could injure myself more. So, yeah, we've pretty much just been working. Working and reading and watching television. So I guess I'll tell you that we finished watching the most recent series of Jurassic World Chaos Theory on Netflix. Really, really good. And I see that there's another season out, so I'm really excited for that. But other than that, we finished up our Shark Week watches from the Discovery, or for National Geographic, on the Disney Channel, Disney Plus, and we have not yet watched any of the Discovery YouTube clips. So I think we'll probably watch some of those. I don't know what we're going to watch next. We don't have any plans to see any movies. And so, yeah, we're just kind of relaxing, I guess. yeah, we're kind of in a standstill at the moment, not doing much. It's been hot, over 90 degrees all week this week. We're mid 90s today, and so we're finally getting those normal summer temperatures, which I hate. But yeah, I think that's all I have as far as an update for you today. So I think I will leave you here, and I will chat with you again later. Hello everyone. So I finished Haunted, which is the first book in the Harrison Investigation series by Heather Graham, this morning. And I wanted to give you my thoughts on it so that I can close out this reading vlog. So this one, I am struggling to decide how to rate it. I do feel like the story picked up after I talked to you last, because obviously we're heading towards the end and the reveal of everything that has been going on in this house and things like that. I still do not enjoy how the main relationship in this story came about. I'm still very uncomfortable where it is, where we end this book. I just feel like it's not believable. It's not believable that things would end up the way that it did. But I'm also still thinking that the male character is such a butthole. I just don't understand it. That being said, I enjoyed the investigative aspects. I enjoy when our main female character is like doing her thing, and we get to see all of the things that she experiences and how she like does her investigation, how things affect her, and the spirits that she sees and things like that. And you know how she, like I said, got to be a part of Harrison Investigations and the relationship that she has with the like founder of the company. I enjoyed all of that. And that really is the meat of the story. It's not the relationship, but for me, the thing that bothers me the most about this story is the relationship. And it does play a role because it deals with our main character, right? But yeah, I like Heather Graham's like storytelling style. Like I said, I've read other books by her. I read 2 of the Crew of Hunters books. I read the first in the Blackbird Files, and now I've read this one. And I enjoy them. I enjoy it enough that I keep picking up more of her books. Granted, not from the same series. I jump around a lot, but I do that with a lot of the authors that I read and series and things like that. And so that's not a surprise to me. I just don't like the relationship in this book. And this is probably the relationship of all of the books that I've read from her that I like the least. And so, yeah, I'm not quite sure how this series like continues, if we're going to continue to follow the same characters that we followed in this one, or if we're going to be introduced to other Harrison Investigation. I hesitate to call them employees, but I would guess that they are employees, members.
And so, yeah, I'm definitely going to be continuing with the series. I definitely enjoyed this more than the Black Dagger Brotherhood series or the first book, Dark Lover. But I kind of almost don't want to give it more stars than I did Black Dagger Brotherhood or Dark Lover. Just because I keep thinking about why their relationship would even get to the point where it is in this story. I don't understand. I don't understand. And that's probably another reason why I don't read a lot of romance. Because I just don't understand why characters would be attracted to characters that I can't find any redeeming qualities to, you know. And I think part of enjoying a romance story is that, you know, you're enjoying the couple together, right? You enjoy watching their relationship grow. You enjoy watching them spend time together. And I don't enjoy watching these two characters spend time together at all. At all. I find the guy to be such a butthead. And I think this woman could do a whole lot better. Especially because they say how much or how beautiful she is. Like, people are constantly wowed by the way that she looks, but she doesn't act like a person that knows that they're beautiful. And I really enjoyed that about her character. I enjoyed all of the things that she can do, her abilities, how she approached situations and things like that. I enjoyed her a lot. I did not enjoy him at all. And so it really bugs me. That bugs me the most. But the mystery of this and all of the spirits that we encounter and the history of the land, I enjoyed that. We even got, like, because this is set where it is, we get like a little bit of a war reenactment, which is not something that I've seen outside of TV shows, but it's something that they do in this area where Melody House is. And so we get a little bit of that. And I found all of that to be enjoyable. The only thing that I really hated was the relationship. So, yeah. I feel like I should give this a 3.5 because I enjoyed this more than Dark Lover, which I only gave a 3. And I really haven't thought about at all since I finished that book. So that kind of tells me that I probably won't be continuing with that series. But that's not to say that, you know, a couple months from now I won't think on it, right? Because I'm allowed to do that. But, yeah. I kind of think that I should give it a 3.5, but at the same time, I think that maybe this is only a 3-star read. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm probably going to end up giving it a 3.5, though, because there are lots of things for me to enjoy with this one. And I will be definitely continuing with this series, because I do, like I said, enjoy Heather Graham's writing style. I've enjoyed several other Heather Graham books. You're probably going to see me read more of Heather Graham's work throughout the rest of the year. And yeah, so I did enjoy this. I did enjoy it. There's just one big thing that really bothers me. And so that's going to do it for this reading vlog. I feel like I ranted a lot. And I don't know. I don't tend to rant about books unless things really bother me about things. And that was definitely the case here. And it's been a while since a book really made me mad like that. But maybe that's a good thing. You know? I don't know. But I was able to read another book off my shelf. I was able to read, well, technically 2 books off my shelf, because apparently I have Dark Lover somewhere. I just don't know where it is. But, okay, 2 books off my TBR? That's great. That is great. And, you know, I checked out 2 series that I've been wanting to check out for a while. Probably won't continue with one, but I will be continuing with the other one. And so, all in all, even though I didn't really enjoy the books that I was reading in this reading vlog, I find that it's a good, like, feeling for me to not only have tried 2 series that have been on my TBR for a while, but deciding to not continue one, which is something that I always struggle with, right? Or at least for the moment. And, deciding that, yes, I will continue with another series. So definitely gets me a little bit more organized, right? With the thousands of books that I have on my to read list, making headway on that. I really want to focus, on my list of to read books on Goodreads, actually going through those and seeing if I do still have interest, clearing my shelves, going through my shelves and getting rid of books that I might have been interested in 10, 15 years ago, and deciding whether or not they align with my reading taste now. That's all part of like what I want to do going forward. It's like this whole like thing that I've kind of been inspired to do. Like I'm gonna like rearrange my shelves and like make room and actually see if I'm interested in all of these books that I have, because I think all of us go through a time as booktubers or even manga tubers where we pick up stuff that we don't necessarily line up with our reading tastes, but we pick it up because we've heard so many other people talk about it that we talk ourselves into the fact that we're gonna like that. At least that's happened with me. I can't speak on anybody else but me, and that's definitely happened with me. I picked up lots of things that don't actually align with my reading tastes just because I've heard so many other people talk about those things that I've convinced myself that I will enjoy that, when in fact, no, I will not enjoy that. And like I said, my reading tastes have definitely changed, and I don't enjoy things as much now as I did maybe even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and all of your experiences, life experiences, things affect the things that you enjoy, right? And things that you read about. And so I think all in all, this has been a very successful reading vlog, even though I've ranted for a while. But yeah, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today. Let me know down in the comments below if you read any of these series, the Black Dagger Brotherhood by J.R. Ward or the Harrison Investigation series by Heather Graham. Also, let me know if you've read anything else by these authors. I would really love to know, because I'm always interested in trying other things and getting new reading suggestions. Maybe the Black Dagger Brotherhood series just isn't the series for me with J.R. Ward, and I should try something else. If so, let me know down in the comments below, because I would love to see if that series would work better for me. Or if you have any other recommendations, I'm open to those as well. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a ghost emoji for haunted down in the comments below, it would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today, so I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye!